All right, so just a quick little recap of The Strain, Season 1, Episode 6. It's still getting better. This episode, it didn't suck. None of the episodes I've seen so far have really been bad, because in my mind, the only way to make this show suck is to have filler episodes. But there's no need for that because they have plenty of source material from the books. So I really don't think any episode is going to be terrible. At least like right off the bat. Just because there's so much material in the books and so much story to tell. I think the only way that an episode is going to be truly terrible is if they really botch the adaptation of book to TV show. This episode, the entire focus of it was on the eclipse and the different characters and their encounters that happened during the eclipse. F got kidnapped by, or not kidnapped, but captured by the FBI because Barnes had called the FBI and got them involved because no one believes him. Abraham was more or less being Abraham. I really wish that there was more to this character than they have in the show. In the book, he was like this guy who encountered the vampires before, knew how to handle them, and was like trying to pass on his knowledge to these new characters. But in this one, he's basically like trailer fodder. He's just there to like say like these weird one-liner warnings, and then he's off screen. V encountered some more vampires that they somehow got into the place that he worked and started killing people there. This episode did have some flaws, like it didn't show how the vampires were able to get into where he worked before the eclipse happened. And it didn't really show that much of the vampires spreading during the eclipse, which kind of bothered me a little bit. My camera, it's like Battlefield Earth tilted angle. But the other main problem with this episode is, I'm not going to say not a lot happened, but it felt kind of predictable even if you didn't read the book. Like you knew that F was going to get captured and they were eventually either going to believe him at the end or the people who captured him were going to get killed. Which they did. But the only other real complaint I have with this episode is that Gus is still the most one-dimensional piece of shit character I've ever seen. He was a really good character in the book as well. Like, yeah, he was a little bit cocky. He still had like that street side of him. But after his mother got killed, and like his entire world was being threatened by the vampires, he like stepped up and like became a hunter with the rest of them. But in this, it's kind of just, he's still a punk, really, and I don't care for the character whatsoever. Like, you could almost say like all of his lines without even watching the episode, because it's just like so stereotypical for like an Asian or Hispanic stereotype. Like, it is dreadfully annoying. Nora, more or less, was better in this episode too. Like, they didn't really write her out in the last episode, but there wasn't really any need for that character arc. Like, out of all the character arcs I don't like in the original book, that is one of them that they could have taken out. The whole Nora not wanting to kill the people, and then after her mother's put in danger and the infection spreads, she like joins up with the rest of the team. But I don't really rate these episodes, but if I had to rate this episode out of 5, I'd give it a 3. In all honesty, it's not the worst episode by far. The worst episode, I would say, would have to be the second one. Second episode so far, because that episode, it dawdled so much. Yeah, it translates differently than the book, because in the book it focuses on F's storyline up until the eclipse, and then it switches over to Gus for a little bit, and then it switches over to Vet for a little bit. But this one, it manages to like jam in certain characters in an episode. Like the next episode, we'll probably see a little bit more of Gabe or the Stoneheart group or something, since we didn't see them in this episode. But I don't know. I'm hoping that this show only has 3 seasons now, because I don't really know what Del Toro's going to do with the franchise after he finishes his books. Because according to his new post or interview, he said each season is going to be a book, which does and doesn't really make sense to me, because like there's a lot of material in these books for them to cover. Maybe if they continued, it could be like some kind of prequel, or focusing more on like the Vampire Guild that they introduced in the second one or something. But I'm interested in seeing this, and I'm interested to see what Del Toro has in his future as far as movie projects go. But enough of the strain. I just thought I'd mention a little bit more of Del Toro news that I've heard recently. According to sources, Del Toro, along with the creator of Silent Hill and Norman Reedus from fucking Boondock Saints and the moderately okay Walking Dead, are going to be working on a new Silent Hill reboot called Silent Hills. Now, for those of you that have been following the story, you may or may not have played the interactive trailer, IT, for Silent Hills. Now, if the game is anything like that interactive trailer, one, it is going to be scary as all fuck. And secondly, I'm hoping they don't make it just like that game, because the puzzles in the interactive trailer were frustrating. But if it's anything like the atmosphere, the sense of dread, the sense of verbata in like the environment, then they have a really good Silent Hill reboot on their hands, in all honesty. And with Del Toro behind the wheel, more or less, you're going to have some pretty interesting creature design. For those of you who aren't familiar with Del Toro, he's done the Hellboy movies, Pan's Labyrinth, the Orphanage. I think it's his upbringing, like whatever part of Mexico he was originally born in, like the legends and myths that are in that culture really, I don't want to say affected him, but got into like his imagination. You can see that in everything that he creates. Like in Hellboy, there was always very fantastic creature design. In his first vampire film, Kronos, it had like a really cool sense of wonder and dread. And same with Pan's Labyrinth. Like, this guy is good at creature design. That's why we have such interesting vampires in the strain. So it'll be cool to see what he does with a franchise that already has really good creature design, like Silent Hill. But if you like this video, click the like button, comment on it, give me some names of something you want to see me take a look at. And if you have the time, please subscribe to my channel. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing next, really. It's kind of a busy week for me, but I'll try to get to something on the weekend. Probably not a new movie, but something on Netflix that catches my attention or whatnot. I'm thinking of doing the Asylum's version of Expendables 3, which is called Mercenaries. Just because the Expendables 3 was really shitty. And I don't know, maybe the Asylum could actually do a better film, in all honesty. But see you next time.